Droves of persons clad in red and white took to the streets of Basseterre to mark the 2019 Labor Day celebrations. The march is organized and spearheaded by the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party and Trades and Labour Union, but it is seen by many as a Labour Party event. For Labour Party supporters, it's an opportunity to publicly protest the government and what they deem as poor management of the country. Placard-bearing persons decried certain actions of the government pertaining to socio-economic issues, and one of the more recent and topical issues, the construction of the new Basseterre High School on the aquifer. Opposition leader Dr. Denzil Douglas said the turnout at the march supports the Labour Party's view that the people are disgruntled with the state of affairs of the country.
The march, therefore, is a significant demonstration of the level of support of the people of this country. Support with the public servants who have been victimized, dismissed, sent home, many of whom are still at home, receiving pay, but without the dignity of working. Many of them are at the workplace, but have not been given anything to do for years, receiving pay.
Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, Marcella Liburd, said workers in the country are being denied their rights by the government and are being victimized. She dismissed the argument that the Labour Party has hijacked Labour Day festivities.
Workers' rights. It's politicians by and large who take these decisions. So however you turn it, it's still a political decision. And a lot of it has to do with the philosophy of the governing party. We are saying that the Labour Party's philosophy is worker-oriented. And so it is very clear that when Labour is in, workers fare better. Workers are not intimidated. They're not afraid to speak. They're not afraid to talk, regardless of who they support.
Former Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Asim Martin, who was a part of the march, was also pleased with the turnout.
Well, it's a great turnout that we have today. Basically, it's the last Labour Day march before an election, and the people have out on the streets to demonstrate their frustration and also their solidarity with the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party.
Meanwhile, Labour Party candidate for St. Christopher I, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, chimed in on the Basseterre High School issue.
I stand for a brand new school, but we are saying that the brand new school should be built on the old site because all of the scientists' reports would have come back indicating that it is a safe area for any sort of construction.
Labour Day in St. Kitts and Nevis is usually observed on the first Monday in May. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline. Joseph O'Flaherty, president of the St. Kitts Nevis Trades and Labour Union, passed away Monday, May 6th, Labour Day, at the Jane Franz General Hospital after being ill for some time. Mr. O'Flaherty followed in the footsteps of his father, Fidel O'Flaherty, who himself was a unionist with the Trades and Labour Union. Leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, the parent body of the union, Dr. Denzil Douglas, expressed his sadness at the passing of Mr. O'Flaherty.
In fact, although it was almost shocking to us, although we knew that he was not well, it put a dampen on our spirits. But with what is happening in the country and with people already mobilized, we had to pursue the plans for the march, and so we marched. As you recognized a moment ago, we paused in a moment of silence in respect of the loss of his life.
Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, Marcella Liburd, also expressed sadness at the Labour Union leader's passing.
I think he has made a great contribution to the union. He has tried in every way that he could. I myself had a personal relationship with him, and we always discuss union and other matters all the time. So I know that his heart is with workers, and so we're really today very sad to hear of his passing.
It was customary for Mr. O'Flaherty to address workers after the annual Labour Day march. That practice was delayed on Monday in respect for Mr. O'Flaherty, according to Dr. Douglas. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. While the Labour Party observed Labour Day with a march through Basseterre, the Governing People's Action Movement, PAM, held its May Day family event at the party headquarters in Basseterre. Azad Gums is the Assistant General Secretary of PAM.
Mayday, you know that the people of the People's Action Movement, we usually come to the headquarters here and we celebrate. This morning we had the breakfast prepared by the women's group. Very delicious breakfast, I must say. And now we had lunch. We just had lunch, and we now have activities. We're going to have a hat fair in the evening. We're going to have small acts. So we invite persons to come out. I mean, it's been a very busy day. As you can see, Andre, persons are buzzing. We had to come in the small room because of the crowd and the noise. So it's a very hyped day for us. We're celebrating and we're action-packed and ready.
Mr. Gums reiterated the party's view that Labor Day is for the workers and not for any political organization.
Political parties, especially the Labour Party, has used it as a day for celebration of their party. But we all know that it's a day for workers, and we here at the People's Action Movement celebrate it as a day for workers, all workers, regardless political affiliation, to enjoy themselves and to it's a day of relaxation, a day of enjoyment for them. All of us are workers, and we do deserve that right to celebrate our rights as workers. So that is what the day is for, celebration of rights. Whether they want to take a political stance as the Labour Party has, is their right as well, but we believe that this day is for workers generally.
Meanwhile, Mr. Gums said that the Team Unity government, of which PAM is a member of, has accomplished much for workers, especially civil servants in St. Kitts and Nevis.
St. Kitts and Nevis has always been a progressive nation. I think that we don't have much issues as it relates to workers' rights. I think that we are system, as you said before, as has been said, we have the rule of law. We are number one in the OECS. I think that the rights of workers have been well established. I would like to say too that the judiciary has established even more rights for workers in deciding that the SRO that was passed in 2014 has been null and void and unconstitutional. I look at it from not really government in that sense, because we know that the state consists of three arms and the judiciary is an equally important arm. And so through that standpoint, we can see where now civil servants can engage in political activity.
Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like knowing you're fully covered after an accident. The security of your home and everything in it that means so much to you. And knowing that even when the weather does its worst, you and your family are covered. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
Me all walk like a champion.
Hey! How would you like to go to the St. Kitts Music Festival VIP style? Well, KFC can make it happen. When you spend $30 or more, you get a chance to be one of the 3 winners per night to experience Music Festival VIP style. All you have to do, log on to www.kfcstkidssurvey.com. Complete the survey. Write the validation code on the back of the receipt along with your name and phone number and return it to any cashier. And you will make yourself eligible to win. Go to the Music Festival VIP style. Compliments KFC. It's finger licking good.
Think I walk like a champion, act like a champion.
In today's world, so many ordinary businesses pass themselves off as something special. But what's really special is what you're looking for. Don't settle for anything less. Inspiring women to be their own kind of beautiful. Offering a comfortable place to shop for quality products and excellent service. We have everything you need. Looking for fashion? We have top quality jewelry. For makeup? We have them. Black Opal, Revlon, perfume, and much more. Lucky Cosmetics Hair and Beauty Supply Store. We carry an extensive collection of hair and beauty products to look your best. We are located at the Circus Taxi Stand, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Call us at 869-466-7541.
Meridian Medical Pharmacy is the best place to get your pharmaceutical products. We make filling prescriptions easy. Our well-stocked pharmacies are ready to serve you. Check us for medical supplies, skin products, supplements, and so much more. Ask about flu vaccines. At Meridian Medical Pharmacy, we are focused on offering a professional, personalized pharmacy experience. Our service is personal, compassionate, and friendly. Located at our state-of-the-art medical facilities at the corner of South Independence Square Street and Adlam Street, downtown Bastyr, St. Kitts. And now we have a new branch on Frigate Bay Road in the Sugars Complex. Call 465-5096 and 465-3306 or email pharmacy@meridianmedcons.com. Visit Meridian Medical Pharmacy today and experience professional, customer care and fast prescription fill-in service. Meridian Medical Pharmacy. Opposition leader Dr. Denzil Douglas has vowed that a Labour Party government would look to what he deems righting the wrongs of the Team Unity government. Speaking at the Labour Party's conference on Sunday at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort, Dr. Douglas stressed the Labour Party's new vision, Next Gen SKN. The party has launched its political campaign ahead of the next general election under the theme Next Gen SKN as it rebrands with some new and young candidates.
Our Next Gen SKN approaches will not only improve services and attract investment, but will also revolutionize the power of our citizens to grant you direct access to and influence your government and to cultivate that as a foundation for our prosperity as we move forward. We are committed to ensuring that our policies and plans are effective and impactful in doing the most for the most of the people who are affected most and are included in the decision-making process. Our Next Gen SKN vision will make sure that when St. Kitts and Nevis takes off, that the masses of the people must also be on board, not just a few politicians and business people and their families. All must be on board.
The opposition leader also addressed plans for the development of a cannabis industry in the country, but also guarded against the risks associated with the use of cannabis. He promised that St. Kitts and Nevis will become a leader in the cannabis industry in the CARICOM region.
Our Next Gen vision will ensure that the legislation that is currently before the Parliament in respect of the use of cannabis does not bring undue harm to our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We will remedy the shortcomings of the current administration, the current regime, they're not the government, regime, by instituting a full-scale educational and informational program to educate our people about cannabis use for recreational, medicinal, and also religious purposes and the risk associated with it. We will also ensure that the legislation does not just make our people importers and consumers of cannabis, but open new opportunities for our people in farming, in exporting and producing medicinal products, CBD products in particular, that can be legally produced and marketed under the legislation that is currently being proposed by the government.
Dr. Douglas told throngs of party supporters that it was a Labour Party administration that developed and advanced certain sectors of the Federation, including education, the Citizenship by Investment Program, healthcare and economic opportunities for the working and middle class. He bemoaned what he described as bad management of the country under the Team Unity government.
They will vote to end corruption, maladministration, and political discrimination in the dispensation of public social programs, such as this PEP, they're calling it. What is it? The Poverty Alleviation Program and the Roof Repair Program, steeped in corruption and maladministration.
Dr. Douglas admonished the Labour Party supporters to be willing to tell their story of the party's accomplishments. He also reiterated allegations of victimization, political interference in the judicial system, and nepotism. The conference's guest speaker was Antiguan Government Minister Chet Green, who is Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Trade and Immigration. The party this year involved the different arms of the party and segments of the community at the conference, including Young Labour, Labour Women, the Spanish community, and a local Rastafarian youth, and a representative of the LGBTQI community. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. The government on Thursday, May 9th, introduced several pieces of bills before the National Assembly, among them being the Cannabis Bill 2019, which will in a sense provide the legal framework relating to the cultivation and use of marijuana in St. Kitts and Nevis. The Cannabis Bill 2019 provides for the regulation and control of cannabis for religious use by documented members of registered religious organizations, to uphold the constitutional rights afforded to each citizen of St. Christopher and Nevis, to establish the St. Christopher and Nevis Medicinal Cannabis Authority, to authorize medicinal and alternative health practitioners to recommend medicinal cannabis, to establish scientific research protocol for medicinal cannabis, and to establish a licensing structure and complete tracking system for medicinal cannabis businesses.
This too conforms with the report of the CARICOM Marijuana Commission, which in like fashion recommended to CARICOM heads at a meeting of the heads in Jamaica that we need to move to make legislative changes to reflect a modern view of marijuana and its use. Our commissioners found that 63.1% of the participants of the prevalence of use survey wanted legislative change or amendments to the Drugs Act, and over 50% felt that marijuana should be decriminalized or legalized for medicinal purposes.
Moreover, Prime Minister Harris noted that the necessary steps will be taken to ensure that this bill also protects youths, tightens on the regulatory system, and modernize and strengthen penalties for criminal offenses.
The bill, of course, will ensure protection of our young people, and so there's a prescribed age that has been identified in the bill having regard to the benefit of medical science and the impact of marijuana on young people. And the bill will tighten the regulatory system and modernizes the legislative arm.
During the February 20, 2019 sitting of the National Assembly, Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris then announced to the nation that his cabinet had unanimously accepted 13 of the committee's recommendations, which included an amendment to the Drugs Act, having regard to scientific developments since the act was passed in 1986, as well as the use of cannabis and its derivatives for medicinal and scientific purposes permitted under license, and a strict legislative regime. He referred to the Cannabis Bill as a reformist and enlightened piece of legislation that appropriately responds to the will of the population.
While countries before us, for example, Jamaica, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, have passed their version of the Cannabis Bill, our bill, when it comes to committee, will grant legislative approval for and regulate the use of cannabis for medicinal, for religious, and recreational purposes. In other words, we have cut across the three broad gamut that had been the subject of discussion regionally and elsewhere with respect to the issues to do with marijuana. And we want to make it clear that with respect to the use for recreational purposes, this of course will only be countenanced in the context of the use in the privacy of one's home. And so that aspect of it will, once we get through the legislative agenda, will no longer be considered a criminal offense.
The decision to present the Cannabis Bill arrived at following a consultative process led by the St. Kitts Nevis National Marijuana Commission over a 16-month period. As part of its recommendations to the Cabinet, the Marijuana Commission called it the creation of a massive public messaging program prior to any changes in the law and continuing thereafter, informing the public of the benefits and risks and potential harm to young persons regarding the use of cannabis. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. A Rastafarian man who successfully took the government to court for his right to use marijuana as a spiritual way of life in the privacy of his home believes the court ruling will have far-reaching effects in St. Kitts and Nevis. A High Court judge recently gave the government of St. Kitts and Nevis a time period to amend the drug laws in the Twin Island Federation, having made a declaration that Rastafarians and users of marijuana have a right to smoke in the privacy of their home. In an interview with SK Newsline at his home along the seashore in Deer Bay, Ras Sankofa said the court decision is a win for Rastas in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Reparatory justice, I know that word there better, just like the Antiguan Prime Minister did. He found a subtle way to deal with it. You know, he gave us privileges. So these are considerations that this government is not just about Sankofa. It's about so much person. And all Rasta right now, Rastafari who is in prison for marijuana need to be released immediately. Every case that is against coming to the court right now for possession or simple possession and for cultivation of marijuana, as Rastafari need to be dropped immediately. A moratorium has to be given because you can't have a big judge decision like this and the Prime Minister haven't addressed the public and asked for a moratorium, because the same day my case was being decided and police up and down in halfway tree, down by Godwin Gut, where we call Reedville, searching people, harassing people. We can't have that still.
According to Ras Sankofa, he was arrested in 2012 violently by police officers at his home.
And when they came, when I went to open the door, they came after me, and so they opened the door at the same time with their guns and what's that. Actually, they put a gun to my head and my wife's head and tell me don't effing move. That's the language that they really did use. I'm not trying to lie or anything like that. And they charged us, from that day they charged me with possession of marijuana and possession with intent to sell because they found 225 grams and then cultivating marijuana. You know, so that will happen in 2012.
He eventually pursued his own legal defense with little help from attorneys.
Prison inmates who was in my cell 5, they encouraged me to actually file a suit. Not really file a suit, appeal the matter. It took about 3 years before the appeal even called up to be heard for the first hearing. When the appeal came, called up for the first hearing, at that time Studumba Bounce was acting on my behalf, but then he stood up in the court and then he said that he's not going to be able to continue with this case because there was a deadline for a certain submission and I didn't see the submission went into the court the day before, so I had to do my own submission, rush up and try to put in my own submission.
According to reports, Judge Ventus's ruling also has implications for persons awaiting trial, presently serving time, and who were previously convicted under the 2 provisions in relation to cultivation and possession. SK Newsline will publish Ras Sankofa's interview in its entirety in a subsequent feature at a later date on our website www.sknnewsline.com and on our Android mobile app. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Want to promote your business or event to a vast growing audience? Then advertise with SKN Newsline and get a comprehensive package for our advertising services. When you advertise with us, we promote your business or event on multiple platforms, both online and offline, including our sister radio station Voice of the Caribbean Radio, our Facebook pages, and affiliate networks and offline marketing. That's effective, creative, and unprecedented. Simply put, we offer what our competitors don't at a really affordable price. So visit our office on Central Market Street, Basse-Terre, and speak to one of our knowledgeable and friendly sales representatives or call 765-7254, 668-9013 or 665-7496. Get your message out on SKN Newsline and our affiliate network of marketing tools. Marketing done creatively.
For all your printing needs at top-notch quality, go to Digital Print Plus, located on Princess Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts. At Digital Print Plus, you get the best in business cards, letterheads, envelopes, wristbands, tent cards, rack cards, flyers, brochures, logo designs, posters, photos, architectural designs, 3D renderings, and so much more. Digital Print Plus gives you the best quality at competitive prices. Contact us at 767-7468 or email digitalprintskn@gmail.com or follow us on Facebook at Digital Print SKN. Digital Print Plus for all your printing needs at the best quality.
Why read the news when you can watch it? Introducing SKN Newsline, the Federation's only online TV news platform. SKN Newsline is an online TV news platform covering news in St. Kitts and Nevis. We provide a daily and accurate news on the big stories and stories of interest that other media outlets have ignored. You can watch SKN Newsline on our website, www.sknnewsline.com, or Facebook page at www.fb.com/SKN Newsline, and also subscribe to our SKN Newsline YouTube channel. SKN Newsline, your world, your news.
Get up mornings with Carl D. Springett on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, Monday to Fridays, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Be energized from the spoken word, daily blessings, black facts, health tips, divine connections, kingdom happenings, weather, SRN news, and more, with star-studded interviews and testimonies and practical principles to help listeners do what the mantra proclaims. Get Up Mornings with Carl D. Springett from Faith Walkins, Love Talkins, and Joy Livings. Get up and be energized with Carl D. Springett, Monday to Fridays, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Get up mornings with Carl D. Springett.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune in for Caribbean music and programs, news, sports, entertainment, vibrant discussions, and much more. Tune into programs like Get Up Mornings with Carl D. Springett, live on weekday mornings. Let's Talk St. Kitts and Nevis with Andre Huey, the Caribbean News Hour, and The Quiet Storm with Magic Man. Tune into great music to inspire you each day, only on Voice of the Caribbean Radio at www.voiceofthecaribbean.net or on our Android mobile app in the Google Play Store. Just search Voice of the Caribbean. We're also on TuneIn Radio. Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check our website for program listings.
Now you can have SKN Newsline on the go. Introducing SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Search SKN Newsline in the Google Play Store. Download the app free and stay up to date with TV news in St. Kitts and Nevis in the palm of your hands. With this app, you can watch your news reports, watch our live news feed on SKN Newsline TV, engage with us and other app users in the chat room, look at our special features, send us news tips, and call us directly. It's news on the go. The SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Download it free today. A billionaire investor who was arrested last week by the authorities in St. Kitts and Nevis plans to file a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris. Alcibiades Alki David was arrested on May 9th on 3 warrants for drug importation, possession, and intent to supply. Mr. David was arrested on May 9th when he was about to leave St. Kitts and Nevis on his private jet after visiting the country with his business partners to meet farmers on the island in a bid to begin a cannabis business on the island. One of the business partners, he disclosed, was arrested over the weekend and up to news time was still incarcerated. At a press conference on Monday at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort, Mr. David said when he arrived on the island, he brought hemp-based products and over 500 hemp seedlings, which do not fall under the category of illegal drugs. Additionally, he said he was allowed to bring these products on the island as he declared them before landing on St. Kitts.
So I was arrested illegally. My people were arrested illegally. And I'll tell you why we were arrested illegally. So we put out a press release. We put out a flight manifest. We put out a radio call. We downloaded the form from the government site for import and export. We appeared at the customs gate with not 11 plants, but actually 550 plants, not 5,000 plants, 550 itty-bitty little seedlings, this high, 3 inches high, 550 of them in a box this big. And we have been tested ad nauseum by the authorities.
Mr. David made some strong allegations, including an alleged meeting with Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris at the Park Hyatt Resort, which eventually led to the arrest of his business partner.
I had a little meeting yesterday with Mr. Harris at the Hyatt Hotel. It was a very civil meeting, very polite meeting. I sat down opposite him. It was very, very nice. We sat and talked for 15 minutes. I left. I had been asked to do something I didn't want to do. So I left, and then Chase went in and started having a conversation with him. Then a bunch of witnesses who worked there at the Hyatt Hotel saw his guards pick Chase up and take him out. And the next thing we know, he's been arrested for drugs, for cocaine, which is ketamine, which is his medicine that has been taken away from him, and he's now languishing in a jail. So let me tell you, Mr. Harris, what's going to go down. There are 3 lawyers from London in the back room there, and they're going to take you down, sir. You don't do that to me or to my friend.
On irate, Mr. David was asked if he would still do business with the government if the opportunity presents itself, despite the sour start.
I really like to stay apolitical. You'd be surprised, but I don't like politics at all. I like to stay out of them. You know, we have a plan where we don't need government licenses. We have a plan where we grow a plant that is a plant, and it's a medicinal plant, and it's not a restricted plant. We didn't bring in even cannabis. We brought in a cousin of cannabis that has been genetically modified. So under the laws here, guess what? We're not breaking any laws there either. And all of this is going to come out in the court. So to answer your question, yes, still I would, because I'm a businessman. I do a deal with Harris today. You know, I do a deal with Harris today. If he gives the farmers licenses now, today, to start farming rather than excuse me, for another 3 months. The thing is this, is that people should be planting seeds now. We brought seeds. People should be planting and farming now, right now. Not in 3 months, waiting for this law to pass, you know, to read the 2nd and 3rd act of the law. They should be reading it now, tonight, and getting it done and pushing it through, and all the hard work that the Rastas have done should start paying off now. Not in 3 months, and not let Mr. Harris derail it again.
Mr. David displayed hemp-based products at the press conference under his brand Swiss X. The press conference was attended by opposition leader and the president of Global Life Foundation, GLF, Dr. Denzel Douglas, and Labour Party chairman, Dr. Terence Drew, as well as Ras Aya of the Nyabinga Theocracy Order in St. Kitts. A press release from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force said that Mr. David was arrested on May 9th and appeared in court the following day. He was released on cash bail of $30,000, $50,000 in 2 sureties, ordered to surrender all travel documents, and ordered to report to the Frigate Bay Police Station daily. He appears in court on Tuesday. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline. Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris has refuted claims that he met with billionaire investor Mr. Alcibiades Alki David or his associates at the Park Hyatt Hotel. Mr. David, in a press conference on Monday, claimed Dr. Harris met with him and his business partner at the hotel on the weekend, and that talks broke down because he did not want to do what he was asked by the Prime Minister. His business partner eventually got arrested after speaking to the Prime Minister and is currently in jail up to news time. But Prime Minister Harris, while speaking on radio show Straight Talk on Win FM Thursday, denied these claims.
I want to make it absolutely clear that certainly neither Mr. David nor Mr. Edwards or Mr. Charles, whatever name he carries, are friends, investors, partners, or have any relationship with myself. And I have never organized or in fact engaged in any meeting with either parties.
The Prime Minister further explained that Mr. David sought him to complain about his arrest at the RLB International Airport for the possession and importation of a controlled substance.
On Sunday last, I had reason to be at the Park Hyatt. I was accosted by a gentleman who in the end identified himself as Mr. David. And we had an interaction for about a minute and a half. Because once I realized who he was, I then got a preview of the kind of character, unstable and unbalanced he was. He said to me, "Your government arrested me illegally." And I looked at him, in disbelief. One, I didn't know who he was until he made the approach. And secondly, that he would come to the head of a country in that particular matter. And I said to him, if you come to a country and you don't know the laws, you should consult with your lawyer or the government. And before I could have finished that, the guests on whom I was awaiting to have had a lunch arrived, and Mr. David walked away.
Prime Minister Harris said that he does not or have ever had any form of relationship, whether personal or otherwise, with Alki David or Chase Ergen. Dr. Harris said he was at the time out of the country on official CARICOM business and said he was first made aware of Mr. David's presence in the country after the matter became international headlines.
I knew of Mr. David after the matter broke in the news, and let's not forget the sequence. I was away in Costa Rica up until the 8th, I think it was, of this month. By the time I got home, this matter had already become an international story. I think it was on or about the 9th or thereabout, these parties would have been charged. Mr. David was charged on the advice and guidance of the Director of Public Prosecution, according to the release from that office.
According to the police, Charles Edwards, the other business associate of Mr. David, was formally charged with 3 offenses on Wednesday, May 15th for threatening language, resisting arrest, and a battery on police. The offenses took place at the Park Hyatt St. Kitts on Sunday, May 12. Mr. Alki David appeared in court Tuesday morning, charged with possession of a controlled drug, possession with intent to supply, and importation of a controlled drug. He was remanded to prison after his bail was raised from $30,000, set at an early appearance in court on May 9th, to $300,000, cash bail, and $600,000 with 2 sureties. Mr. David claimed he had brought in 550 hemp seedlings into the country as part of engaging farmers on St. Kitts in a bid to begin a cannabis industry on the island. However, the seedlings were confiscated, and on his return to the RLB International Airport to leave the country, he was arrested and charged. SK Newsline will continue to monitor this story. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. After 7 years without winning a trophy, Eskrave Newtown United finally delivered a cup to the trophy-starved community. On Wednesday night, the team from East Bastille defeated Rams Village Superstars 2-1 to win the finals of the 2019 FA Cup at the Warner Park Football Stadium. It was a tense battle between the teams from East and West Bastille, as Village were looking to add to the 2 trophies they already won this season, while Newtown wanted to win their first cup since winning the Premier League title in 2012. Newtown got on the score sheet first from Jayon Duncan, who slotted home a beauty inside the danger area in the 36th minute. But 4 minutes later, Travis Rogers equalized for Village within close range from a free kick. But as the second half begun, Village loanee Devon Elliott slotted home the winner in the 48th minute. Newtown had to play the game with 10 men a few minutes later as Kijan David received his second yellow card of the match in the 57th minute. A scuffle between players at the latter stages of the match also led to assistant coach of Rams Village Superstars Alexis Richards being expelled from the technical area in the 84th minute. An elated coach Earl Jones of Newtown said this win is significant to the community of Newtown and the team after not winning anything for such a long time.
Words can't explain. I mean, last time I speak to you, I did tell you, I mean, when we meet again, we just have to settle it. And we ain't stopping here. We're going on and on. The community is begging. They've been begging over and over for years, since 2012, you know, just to get the right group of fellas together, just to keep them intact. And we will be victorious because, I mean, once you give dedication, you give time, and everything just gonna fall in place.
Coach Jones believes this win shows that his team appears to be the only one that can match Village Superstars.
I've been telling them it looked like it's only, I mean, I didn't really want to say this, but to be honest, looking at it, and maybe saying this might give the other teams a boost or a pep in the step, you know. I can say it frank, it seems like it's only Newtown could stop Village, like we did tonight.
Meanwhile, coach Stephen Clark of Village said his team did not play with the same hunger as Newtown.
Yeah, well, first of all, congrats to the champions. We didn't play village football at all. We didn't play like we really wanted it, you know? And I guess the team that played like they wanted more actually won the game.
Asked about Coach Jones's claim that Newtown is the only team that can match Village, Clark had this to say.
Good luck to him. He won tonight, so he'll have a whole heap of confidence for that. But it's a challenge. He could bring it up.
Just before Wednesday's finals, a shock result ensued in the SKNFA National Bank Premier League as KFC United Old Road Jets shocked playoff contenders Hobson Enterprises Garden Hotspurs 3-2, leading 3-0 at halftime. Scoring for Old Road, Jaron Leader scoring 2 goals in the 25th and 33rd minutes, and Tiquani Williams in the 37th minute. For Spurs, the goal scorers were Akil Allen in the 46th minute and Rovan Wigley in the 79th minute. The SKNFA National Bank Premier League resumes this weekend.
At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like knowing you're fully covered after an accident. The security of your home and everything in it that means so much to you. And knowing that even when the weather does its worst, you and your family are covered. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
Me all walk like a champion.
Hey! How would you like to go to the St. Kitts Music Festival VIP style? Well, KFC can make it happen. When you spend $30 or more, you get a chance to be one of the 3 winners per night to experience Music Festival VIP style. All you have to do, log on to www.kfcstkidssurvey.com. Complete the survey. Write the validation code on the back of the receipt along with your name and phone number and return it to any cashier. And you will make yourself eligible to win. Go to the Music Festival VIP style. Compliments KFC. It's finger licking good.
Think I walk like a champion, act like a champion.
In today's world, so many ordinary businesses pass themselves off as something special. But what's really special is what you're looking for. Don't settle for anything less. Inspiring women to be their own kind of beautiful. Offering a comfortable place to shop for quality products and excellent service. We have everything you need. Looking for fashion? We have top quality jewelry. For makeup? We have them. Black Opal, Revlon, perfume, and much more. Lucky Cosmetics Hair and Beauty Supply Store. We carry an extensive collection of hair and beauty products to look your best. We are located at the Circus Taxi Stand, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Call us at 869-466-7541.
Meridian Medical Pharmacy is the best place to get your pharmaceutical products. We make filling prescriptions easy. Our well-stocked pharmacies are ready to serve you. Check us for medical supplies, skin products, supplements, and so much more. Ask about flu vaccines. At Meridian Medical Pharmacy, we are focused on offering a professional, personalized pharmacy experience. Our service is personal, compassionate, and friendly. Located at our state-of-the-art medical facilities at the corner of South Independence Square Street and Adlam Street, downtown Bastyr, St. Kitts. And now we have a new branch on Frigate Bay Road in the Sugars Complex. Call 465-5096 and 465-3306 or email pharmacy@meridianmedcons.com. Visit Meridian Medical Pharmacy today and experience professional customer care and fast prescription fill-in service. Meridian Medical Pharmacy. Tourism arrivals by air from January to April 2019 are up by 14.5% over last year, according to Tourism Minister Lindsay Grant. Mr. Grant disclosed this at the 19th Annual Tourism Experience Awards held at the Royal St. Kitts Hotel in Frigate Bay on Saturday.
And I am pleased to report a very, very strong growth. How strong? All air arrivals January through April 2019 are up by a whopping 14.5% over last year. With North American arrivals even further up than that at 17.2%. This is a clear indication that our strategy is succeeding.
The minister disclosed that plans are in place to increase the service from existing key gateways from the US, Canada, the UK, and the Caribbean.
To continue this growth, we have a very specific, targeted plan to increase service from existing key gateways in the United States, Canada, the UK, and the Caribbean. We aim to open new gateways with Saturday peak season service from Houston by United and from Washington, D.C. by Southwest. Yes, Southwest, a carrier that currently does not serve our federation. An expansion of midweek peak season service from JFK by American, and from Atlanta by Delta, and from Newark by United are all our focus. Chicago and Boston become target gateways also, as they feed our existing non-stop flights from Atlanta by Delta and Miami by American.
The tourism minister said to accommodate these increased tourist arrivals, plans are in place to increase the stock of hotel rooms, including the Koi Resort, slated to be completed by the end of 2019, and the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, which is now slated for 2021.
We have built outstanding relationships with key airline network planners. Each year, we meet with the airlines directly and we engage with them at the Roots America conferences. To support new services, we have to grow our demand. Therefore, we will be aggressively marketing in those gateways to increase awareness for the flights and for our destination. Having opened the Park Hyatt St. Kitts, we are looking ahead to more hotel development to accommodate arrivals. The Koi Resort and Residences is on track to open at the end of 2019, and we are working with the Ritz-Carlton to ensure that it will open in 2021 as scheduled.
SK Newsline will have more from the 2019 Tourism Experience Awards. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline. 12 recipients were awarded 2019 St. Kitts Tourism Experience Awards on Saturday night at the Royal St. Kitts Hotel in Frigate Bay. This year there were some changes. Some of the usual categories were not presented, and some new ones were added. Mr. Alistair Williams of Ministry of Tourism explains.
And I've added the following awards. Vendor of the Year, the St. Kitts Tourism Authority Partnership Award, Tourism Business Excellence Award, Tourism Corporate Responsibility Award. We have also introduced the Taxi or Tour Bus Operator of the Year Award. And later on in the evening, we will be acknowledging the contribution of our team members from both the Ministry of Tourism and the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, who have served their respective organization for 10 years.
This year's recipients are Vendor of the Year, Joseph Richards, Taxi or Tour Operator of the Year, Leighton Gums, Employee of the Year, Avernell Williams, the St. Kitts Tourism Authority Partnership Award to the Royal St. Kitts Hotel, Tourism Corporate Responsibility Award to the National Museum, the Tourism Business Excellence Awards to Dreamy Weddings and Tours Incorporated, Sustainable Tourism to the Ocean Terrace Inn, Minister's Award of Excellence, Mr. Austin Huggins, Scaspa's Port Excellence Awards at the airport, Lance Corporal Yazani Kelly, and Scaspa's Port Excellence Awards at the seaport, Carol Blackman. 2 Tourism Authority workers were awarded for 10 years of service to the authority. Ms. Golda Franks, the Product Development Officer, and Floy Herbert, Maintenance Officer. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Charles Edward, also known as Chase Ergen, of Colorado, was convicted and fined for multiple offenses on May 20th, 2019. Edwards was convicted and cautioned for the offense of battery. He was also convicted and fined for the offenses of the use of threatening language and resisting arrest. He was fined $1,500 for the use of threatening language to be paid forthwith or 2 months in prison, and $3,000 for resisting arrest to be paid forthwith or 6 months in prison. Argan was one of 2 investors who was jailed last week in the Federation. His partner, Alki David, and other associates arrived in St. Kitts and Nevis with over 500 hemp seedlings and other cannabis-related products. The seedlings were confiscated. David appeared in court last week, Tuesday morning, charged with possession of a controlled drug, possession with intent to supply and importation of a controlled drug. He was remanded to prison but was eventually released on bail. He has left the country and is due back in September for another court appearance. I am Namayombo Mganelo reporting for SKN Newsline.
Not everyone has been welcoming of the government's recent policy announcement that foreign nationals who get married to St. Kitts and Nevis nationals can immediately apply for citizenship. Last week, the government announced this recent policy shift, noting that the Constitution provides for this. In clarifying his government's reasons for its decision, Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris stated that the Cabinet took note of the constitutional provision at Clause 92, Section 8, which states that the following persons shall, if they do not already possess citizenship, be entitled upon making application to be registered as citizens. A. Any person who is married to a citizen. Dr. Harris said that at some point in the past, under the former administration, a decision was taken to impose a 3-year requirement before a person who got married could in fact apply. The Prime Minister said, quote, "In recent times, as the environment gets more litigious, lawyers and other persons versed in the law and versed in the issue of justice have come to the government. They have gone to the Governor General. They have written and said that the policy decision run counter to the constitutional provision that they are entitled." End quote. But some within the opposition circles are not in agreement with this policy shift. First Vice President of the Nevis Reformation Party, NRP, Dr. Kelvin Daly, during Freedom Radio's Issues program on Tuesday, slammed the move.
If, as the Prime Minister has said, that there is nothing in the legislation that prevents it, rather than put in legislation to cap it or to fix it, he goes the opposite way. Why would you choose to do that? If you recognize there was a loophole, if there was a weakness in the legislation, it says to me that that loophole should have been fixed. Because he's claiming that there's nothing in the provisions of the law that prevents this thing from happening. Now, if you recognize that to be a fact, why do you choose to open it wider?
Dr. Daly suggested this action was politically driven.
This is a deliberate, premeditated, unscrupulous process of trying to curry favor the votes from a particular ethnic group, or I should say the Spanish-speaking group, because it's conferred on the body. And let me be certain, let me be sure, anybody in the political spectrum can do this, whether it's Labour supporters, PAM supporters, NRP supporters, CCM supporters. It is there for everybody to do. But the fact that it was moved, the resolution was moved by the Team Unity government at a time like this, in a critical juncture of the electoral cycle, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm supposing a lot of fair-minded people will also have a bad taste in their mouth.
The NRP official is calling on government to make the necessary constitutional adjustments to change this provision, as it will spark an increase in fraudulent marriages.
And here we have opened the spigot, we have opened the pipe, and said, come into St. Kitts and Nevis. For a short-term gain, we might get an advantage at the polls, but you'll be selling out your country for all and sundry to come and take a bite. This is, I don't care what political party does this. I know NRP for one will not support this.
The government of St. Kitts and Nevis said that after thorough research and in conjunction with the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, the cabinet concluded that there is no legal requirement to prevent persons from obtaining citizenship by marriage, except for an unwritten policy, which seems to be at variance with the law. As such, Prime Minister Harris noted that the cabinet acted upon the advice of the Attorney General's office to avoid these matters going to the courts of law and persons being vindicated at a heavy cost to the government. The Prime Minister said the policy, for whatever good the intention may be, could not subsist in the face of the Constitution and the law. So we have simply said we will abide by the law. Dr. Harris said that there still remains a strict due diligence process that follows a person's application for citizenship through marriage to ensure that the person is a fit and proper person for St. Kitts and Nevis citizenship. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. Nevis Premier and Minister of Foreign Affairs Mark Brantley is taking issue with an article published by The Guardian newspaper on May 24, 2019, calling for visa-free access to European Union states for St. Kitts and Nevis passport holders to be revoked. The call came following a case in Europe involving Andrei Pavlov, a Russian national who was sanctioned for tax fraud, but was able to travel to other EU states. The article made references to the country's CBI program and suggested that Premier Brantley's law firm was somehow involved with Pavlov. However, a press statement issued from the Office of the Premier on behalf of the Nevis Island administration on the weekend claimed that through an intermediary, an inquiry was made to the law firm Daniel Brantley, co-founded by Mr. Brantley in 1997. Other than seeking information, Mr. Pavlov is not and has never been a client of the law firm. The statement added that the Premier does not know and has never met Mr. Pavlov and has therefore had no association or contact with him. This, too, the statement said, was made clear to Juliet Garside, the writer of the Guardian newspaper article, in a telephone interview with Premier Brantley on Wednesday, May 22nd. The statement added that Mr. Pavlov is not and has never been a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. All of this was made clear to the writer of the Guardian article, Juliet Garside, in a telephone interview with Mr. Brantley on Wednesday, May 22nd, according to the statement. The Nevis Island administration is arguing that the article does not and cannot offer any evidence to the contrary. The statement said, quote, "It, however, seeks to discredit by innuendos its basic implied premise, and the complaint to the European Union by MEPs Ana Gomez and Mariche Schaake is that the referenced request for information on a legitimate citizenship program and that Mr. Pavlov might have managed to enter the EU over 70 times are somehow linked to St. Kitts and Nevis. This is completely and utterly false, as Mr. Pavlov does not hold and has never held a passport from St. Kitts and Nevis. His purported entries into the EU, therefore, have absolutely no connection with St. Kitts and Nevis." End quote. The NIA said in the statement that the new government undertook a comprehensive review and overhaul of the country's citizenship by investment program in 2015. St. Kitts and Nevis now has the most stringent due diligence requirements in the world, the statement added. All incidents cited by the article are pre-2015. The NIA concluded that St. Kitts and Nevis values greatly the relationship it has with the European Union and will continue at all times to be a stable and reliable and trustworthy international partner. The Guardian article noted that Pavlov took steps to purchase a Caribbean passport, according to widely leaked emails. Pavlov says he did not acquire a St. Kitts and Nevis passport and claims to have only ever held citizenship of Russia and the Soviet Union. The article stated that in January 2014, an intermediary acting for Pavlov approached Mark Brantley, who was at the time leader of the opposition. It is not clear whether Brantley, who was then on sabbatical from his firm to pursue his political career, was ever aware of the prospective client's identity, the article said. By email, Brantley referred the intermediary to his law firm, Daniel Brantley and Associates, saying, "We can help." 2 months later, on 11th of March 2014, Pavlov contacted the firm in person, explaining, "I'm interested in your service in obtaining St. Kitts and Nevis economic citizenship and would like to proceed." Pavlov needed the passport, he said, because he was involved in litigation in the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court and wanted to avoid visa difficulties when traveling to the region. He hoped to have necessary documentation ready within 3 weeks. Brantley said his firm received an inquiry which did not lead to work for the firm. He said there was no evidence Pavlov had obtained citizenship. "I have never applied for or granted any citizenship other than Russian," Pavlov said in an email statement to The Guardian. "I don't have any plans to acquire St. Kitts and Nevis citizenship. I am not intended to comment whether I had these plans years ago. After December 2017, I never instructed any professional in order to obtain any foreign citizenship for myself," he said in the statement. EU parliamentarians Ana Gomez, a prominent campaigner against golden passports, and her colleague have raised the matter in a letter to Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker, calling for immediate curbs on visa waivers for St. Kitts and Nevis citizens. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
Want to promote your business or event to a vast growing audience? Then advertise with SKN Newsline and get a comprehensive package for our advertising services. When you advertise with us, we promote your business or event on multiple platforms, both online and offline, including our sister radio station Voice of the Caribbean Radio, our Facebook pages, and affiliate networks and offline marketing. That's effective, creative, and unprecedented. Simply put, we offer what our competitors don't at a really affordable price. So visit our office on Central Market Street, Basse-Terre, and speak to one of our knowledgeable and friendly sales representatives, or call 765-7254, 668-9013, or 665-7496. Get your message out on SKN Newsline and our affiliate network of marketing tools. Marketing done creatively.
For all your printing needs at top-notch quality, go to Digital Print Plus, located on Princess Street, Basse-Terre, St. Kitts. At Digital Print Plus, you get the best in business cards, letterheads, envelopes, wristbands, tent cards, rack cards, flyers, brochures, logo designs, posters, photos, architectural designs, 3D renderings, and so much more. Digital Print Plus gives you the best quality at competitive prices. Contact us at 767-7468 or email digitalprintskn@gmail.com or follow us on Facebook at Digital Print SKN. Digital Print Plus for all your printing needs at the best quality.
Why read the news when you can watch it? Introducing SKN Newsline, the Federation's only online TV news platform. SKN Newsline is an online TV news platform covering news in St. Kitts and Nevis. We provide a daily and accurate news on the big stories and stories of interest that other media outlets have ignored. You can watch SKN Newsline on our website, www.sknnewsline.com, or Facebook page at www.fb.com/SKN Newsline, and also subscribe to our SKN Newsline YouTube channel. SKN Newsline, your world, your news.
Get up mornings with Carly Springett on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, Monday to Fridays, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Be energized from the spoken word, daily blessings, black facts, health tips, divine connections, kingdom happenings, weather, SRN news, and more, with star-studded interviews and testimonies and practical principles to help listeners do what the mantra proclaims. Get Up Mornings with Carl D. Springett from Faith Walkins, Love Talkins, and Joy Livins. Get up and be energized with Carl D. Springett, Monday to Fridays, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Get Up Mornings with Carl D. Springett.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune in for Caribbean music and programs, news, sports, entertainment, vibrant discussions, and much more. Tune into programs like Get Up Mornings with Carl D. Springett, live on weekday mornings. Let's Talk St. Kitts and Nevis with Andre Huey. The Caribbean News Hour and The Quiet Storm with Magic Man. Tune in to great music to inspire you each day, only on Voice of the Caribbean Radio at www.voiceofthecaribbean.net or on our Android mobile app in the Google Play Store. Just search Voice of the Caribbean. We're also on TuneIn Radio. Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check our website for program listings.
Now you can have SKN Newsline on the go. Introducing SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Search SKN Newsline in the Google Play Store. Download the app free and stay up to date with TV news in St. Kitts and Nevis in the palm of your hands. With this app, you can watch your news reports, watch our live news feed on SKN Newsline TV, engage with us and other app users in the chat room, look at our special features, send us news tips, and call us directly. It's news on the go. The SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Download it free today. Stakeholders of the construction of the new Basseterre High School has sought to allay fears of contamination of the underground water in the Basseterre Valley Aquifer at a town hall meeting on Wednesday night at the Tucker Clark Primary School. The panel of experts comprised Chairman of the Innotech Services St. Kitts Limited, Anthony De Silva, Water Engineer Dr. Hallisey Haley, Senior Principal, Stantec Caribbean, Mr. Andrew Hutchinson, Director of the Development Control Planning Board, Mr. Randolph Edmead, and DNB Project Manager, Innotech Services St. Kitts Limited, Mr. Ian Rogers. Mr. Vincent Hodge, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, chaired the function as each of the experts made presentations on the various aspects of the project and why contamination of the underground water is unlikely to occur. However, after the presentation, patrons were afforded the opportunity to ask questions, which were answered by members of the panel. Here are highlights.
With all the expertise and the type of things I heard here, the soil testing and the sewage and whatever, why can't we clean up the old Basseterre High School? I'm not talking, yes, and I'm not talking about, at this point, building on it. I'm talking about why have we kept a site like that in such a decrepit, dirty, environmental hazardous condition.
When I recognize the quality and qualifications of our local people, I am still wondering and baffled. Why is it that some of our local engineers, why some of our architects are still playing second fiddle? Why? It is bothering to me.
And I want to touch on the last question, I believe, from Mr. Warner, who addressed me specifically about local involvement. And I can assure you that I have met with Mr. Warner. He might not recall it, but I have met with him. And we've discussed his involvement in the project at the Basseterre High School. So I don't know exactly what it is he's complaining about, but we've discussed his involvement. Now, if he doesn't want to be involved, then he ought only need to send me a letter in that regard.
So these are the wells in the Basseterre, and our school is way down here somewhere, all right? And so there's a hydraulic gradient here, and it's going down gradient towards the sea. So it's not, whatever we put in the ground is highly treated, but it's not possible for it to flow uphill. Water doesn't go up a hill, it goes down a hill.
Because he has led the audience to believe that water only flows uphill. Downhill. From my experience and training, I know that moisture moves from lower levels in the soil to higher levels through capillary reaction, and also groundwater can reverse their flow path because groundwater flow from hydraulic head to a lower hydraulic head.
Good. I think it's stated quite clearly that the hydraulic gradient in this case is from north to south. Cannot be reversed in this case. Now there are other cases in other places that maybe not an island nation where you can have groundwater flow in different directions, but in this particular case of the Basseterre Valley watershed, because of the topography and because of the geology, the hydraulic gradient is from north to south.
And one of the things that struck me, first off, like it did Mr. Blanchett apparently, was the disclaimer. Yes, I know it was said that it's standard operating procedure, but it made me uncomfortable. You're supposed to stand by what you believe in.
The intent of what's written here, if we provide a report, advice to a client, that advice is intended for the use of that client. All this is saying is that if a third party chooses to take this report and run and do it, we're not responsible. That's all it says. Read it carefully.
Former principal of the Basseterre High School, who is now the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Mrs. Carleen Henry Morton, gave a statement during the question and answer segment about the situation pertaining to the school.
The same people who are asking a lot of questions now about the hypothetical watched when the actual illnesses were taking place. Never asked a question. Never asked a question. And a number of them were doctors. Divided by the Basseterre High School by a fence. Never asked a question. The ambulance used to make trips up there 3 and 4 times in a week. Never a question. People broke out with sores and all kind of things. Never a question. But everybody concerned now conveniently about hypothetically, maybe something gonna happen. And I am not saying that something may not happen, but I am saying that if we had a quarter of the concern back then, we would not have been here.
We'll provide more reports on this forum in a subsequent newscast. I'm Andre Huey, reporting for SKN Newsline. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, on Wednesday hosted the media launch of the new EC dollar polymer notes via live video conference at the ECCB agency in Grenada. Governor of the ECCB, Timothy Antwine, said the $50 notes bearing the image of his long-serving predecessor, Sir K. Dwight Venner, will be the first denomination of the new polymer notes to be distributed at the start of June.
Today, we unveil the first note in the EC family of notes, the EC $50. This new note bears the image of our late great governor, Sir K. Dwight Venner. And once again, I hail the colossal contribution of my illustrious predecessor. Let's give a round of applause.
The governor disclosed that polymer notes are in and ready for distribution in all but 2 countries of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, the ECCU.
Mostly every country, with the exception of Anguilla and Montserrat, where they still have high stocks of paper notes. So there's no point in putting in polymer if they stock up on paper. As the paper depletes, eventually we put in polymer. In other countries that have higher usage levels or rates, including Grenada, St. Lucia, Antigua, all the way up, polymer notes are already in country and available for distribution as the commercial banks come to the central bank. So for a period of time, you will see both, and it's difficult to project. The other issue is when we introduced actual notes. So some notes were introduced 3 years ago, 4 years ago, paper notes that is. Some were introduced a year ago. So they have to phase out.
The governor praised the new polymer notes as clean, safer, and stronger than the current paper notes. He said that persons with paper notes do not need to destroy or get rid of them for polymer notes, as these are still legal tender and will be used together with the new notes until depleted from circulation.
The circulation of the EC notes will be phased. As unfit paper notes are returned to the central bank and our current inventory of paper notes is depleted, they will be replaced by polymer notes. Therefore, as a practical matter, the public ought to expect that both our paper and polymer notes will be in circulation at the same time. And I want to assure you that they are both legal tender. So you don't need to rush to the bank and bring in your paper to get polymer. They will, and let's be clear, there is no point at this stage in destroying absolutely good paper notes. That would be wasteful and irresponsible.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the ECCB Monetary Council and the Prime Minister of Grenada, Dr. Keith Mitchell, praised the ECCB for its leadership in launching the new polymer notes.
I must therefore commend Governor Timothy Antoine, who had a vision for this development. I must also recognize the critical role played by his team of the bank, who supported him in the execution of this important historic initiative. It was just over a year ago that the Monetary Council, acting on the advice of the bank, took the bold decision to change the material on which the EC banknotes are printed from paper to polymer.
Governor Antoine said other denominations of the new polymer notes will be rolled out around September this year, depending on the demands of the various member countries of the ECCU. The new notes have additional features to assist the visually impaired to identify the respective notes, an aspect praised at the media launch by Sherry Hamlet from the Resource Center for the Blind. Lady Linda Venner, widow of Sir Cade White Venner, was presented encapsulated notes by Prime Minister Keith Mitchell. Some employees of the ECCB and representatives of the local banking sector in St. Kitts and Nevis were present at the media launch at the ECCB headquarters in Bird Rock. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.